Hello friends, and welcome to Wise Pages. Today, we are going to talk about a book that has changed countless lives, Discipline is Destiny by Ryan Holiday. But instead of a simple review, I want to tell you a story. A story about a young man who had no direction, no purpose, and no hope. A story about how an old man with a book showed him that discipline is not just a habit, it is, in fact, destiny. This is the story of Sam. Sam lived in a small village. He was just 20 years old, but nothing in his life was going right. He wasn't good at his studies. He didn't have any work that made him feel proud. His days passed in a blur of laziness, sitting at home doing nothing, wandering with friends without any goal, without any destination. Sometimes, Sam would stop and ask himself, what is the purpose of my life? But he never found an answer. He didn't know which direction to go. Slowly, he began to feel more and more disconnected from the world. His parents were deeply worried about him. They wanted him to do something, to find a purpose, to chase something big. But Sam had no path, no direction. He had given up on himself. He no longer believed in his own abilities. He was just surviving, not living. Every day felt meaningless, and he believed there was no hope left. Then one day, while Sam was walking down the village road with no destination in mind, his eyes fell upon an old man. The man was dressed in simple clothes, but his eyes had a strange glow. He was sitting under a tree, reading a book. Sam hesitated for a moment, then walked up to him and asked, "Sir, every day I see you sitting under this tree. What is it that you keep reading?" The old man smiled gently and said, "I think about my life, and I learn new things. These books give me new direction." Sam had never received an answer like that from anyone. He stayed quiet for a moment, then asked, "Were you ever troubled like me? I can't understand where my life is going." The old man looked into Sam's eyes and said, "Everyone faces such times in their lives when they feel lost. But true strength comes when you understand the purpose of your life." Sam saw truth in the old man's words. He said, "But I don't understand what my purpose is. I'm just passing my life without any thought." The old man picked up a book from beside him. Its title was Discipline is Destiny. He opened the book, showed Sam the first page, and said, "This book contains words that can help you." Then he read a paragraph aloud, "The importance of purpose. Until you understand the true purpose of your work, you will never be able to fully commit to anything. When you realize what brings you joy and what makes you feel complete from within, you can pull yourself out of any trouble." Sam listened in silence, as if something had awakened inside him. For the first time, he realized that his confusion existed because he had no clear purpose. He was trapped between what others said and his own lazy thinking. The old man said, "If you want to do something big in your life, you must first understand what you truly want. Without purpose, every effort becomes useless." Sam asked softly, "So how do I understand what my purpose is?" The old man replied, "You must ask yourself this question: what is the work that makes you feel complete? What task brings you joy even without the expectation of any external reward?" Hearing this, Sam felt something shift inside him. He had never looked at his life from this perspective before. He had always thought that he should do things only to chase money or impress others. But the old man's words gave him a new dimension of thinking. He realized that true happiness and satisfaction can only come from work that arises from within, not from the expectations of others. The old man gave Sam another lesson: once you understand the true purpose of your work, you will be able to overcome any difficulty. That purpose will give you the strength to face every challenge and will keep you steadfast toward your goal. Sam nodded, as if he was slowly beginning to understand. For the first time in his life, he began to hope for change. He said to the old man, "I understand what you're saying. I need to find my purpose. But how do I do that? The old man said, it is hidden inside you. Listen to your heart, and you will see that you will find the way. First, take small steps. Explore the things that bring you joy from within. And when you find that work, give it your complete attention. It will lead you toward your destination. Sam now understood that he needed purpose in his life. He returned home with this new mindset and began asking himself what his purpose could possibly be. He now felt that there was some direction in his life, something he still needed to discover. The old man's words echoed in his heart and mind. He began to see his life with fresh eyes. His journey had only just begun, and he knew that many more lessons awaited him on his path. This part of the story was the beginning of a new chapter in Sam's life. He had now set out on a journey to find himself and identify his purpose. Change had begun. Now, Sam's life had started to shift, but the journey was not easy. Even after identifying his purpose, Sam often felt helpless and confused. He couldn't figure out how to bring discipline into his life. Every time he tried to do something new, he fell back into his old patterns. His thinking still had chaos, and sometimes his emotions made him weak. One day, Sam returned to the same spot where he had first met the old man. He knew he would learn something new from him again. This time, he went with even more hope. The old man was sitting under the same tree as always, reading his book. Sam asked him humbly, "Sir, there is still so much I don't understand. I've started thinking about purpose, but whenever I try to do something, my emotions stop me. I can't seem to become disciplined. What should I do?" The old man looked at Sam and said with a smile, "This is completely natural. Identifying your purpose is the first step. But without self-discipline, you cannot move toward that purpose. This journey can only be completed when you gain control over your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Self-discipline is the real key to success." Sam listened carefully. He knew the old man was about to give him another deep lesson. The old man picked up his book and read another page aloud, "Mastering the Self." Self-discipline does not mean simply holding yourself back. It means gaining control over every thought, emotion, and action you take. True freedom and success come only when we become the masters of our own mind and body. Self-discipline is a continuous practice that helps us move toward our values and long-term goals. Sam asked softly, "So what should I do? How can I control my thoughts and emotions?" The old man looked closely at Sam's face, as if peering into his soul. Then he explained, "You must first learn how to keep your mind calm. Whenever a negative thought or emotion arises within you, recognize it. Do not ignore it. Accept it, but do not get carried away by it. The more you pay attention to your thoughts and emotions, the more you will understand them. And only when you understand them can you control them." Sam nodded, but he still had some doubt. "But when I get lost in my thoughts, I don't remember any of this. I feel like I have no control over myself." The old man said, "That's fine. Everyone feels this way in the beginning. Discipline is not a magic wand that fixes everything with a wave. It is practice. Every time you try to control your mind, you grow a little stronger. The true meaning of self-discipline is not that you never make mistakes. It is that you learn from your mistakes every time and keep moving forward." Then the old man said something else important: discipline is not just about holding yourself back. It is about making the right choice. Every time you face a choice, think about which option will bring you closer to your long-term goal. If you make small, right choices every time, slowly, a big change will come into your life. Sam understood this. He realized that discipline was not just about saving himself from laziness or fear. It was also about making the right decisions. Now he would have to pay attention to every step he took and think about which path he was going down. The old man also gave him some practical advice: every morning after you wake up, Sit quietly for a few minutes. Start your day with meditation. Think about what you want to do and how that work will bring you closer to your goal. Whenever a negative thought arises within you, observe it with a calm mind and understand why it is coming. Slowly, you will learn to master your mind. Sam took these words very seriously. He decided that from now on, he would try every day to understand his mind and emotions. He also understood that self-discipline was not a one-day task. It was a process in which you have to improve a little every day. In the days that followed, Sam began to apply the old man's advice to his life. Every morning, he meditated for a few minutes and paid attention to his decisions throughout the day. Whenever he had to make a big or small decision, he thought about whether it would lead him toward his long-term goals. Slowly, he began to feel that change was happening in his life. Where he used to be subject to his thoughts and emotions, he was now beginning to recognize and control them. He realized that discipline is not just about stopping yourself but also about making the right choices, and those right choices are what can lead you to your destination. The old man's words and his book Discipline is Destiny had become a guide for Sam. He understood that self-discipline alone could take him to his goal. Now he was living with more self-control and purpose. But this journey was not over yet. Sam still had much to learn, and he knew he would learn many more important lessons from the old man. A new morning had arrived in Sam's life. In the past days, he had tried his best to bring the old man's lessons into his life. He had recognized his purpose and had slowly practiced controlling his thoughts and emotions. Yet he felt that every day brought a new challenge. Maintaining discipline was not easy, and many times he slipped back into his old patterns. One day, Sam returned to the same tree where he always met the old man. There was a little worry in his eyes, and he felt that perhaps he was still missing something. He wanted to be disciplined, but his emotions and thoughts sometimes led him astray. He knew he needed another lesson. The old man saw him and smiled, as if he already knew what was going on in Sam's mind. "Back again?" the old man said in a calm voice. Sam nodded and said, "Sir, I am trying, but many times I feel like I get trapped in my own thoughts and emotions. I want to bring discipline, but sometimes doubt arises in my mind. Why is this happening?" The old man listened and said, "Son, this is natural. We are all human, and emotions and thoughts surge within our minds. But true discipline comes when we not only understand these emotions and thoughts but are also able to control them. This is called self-discipline, mastering your mind, emotions, and actions." Sam listened carefully. The old man always spoke deep words that gave him new direction every time. He asked, "But sir, how can I control my mind and emotions? Sometimes it feels like all of this is beyond my control." The old man picked up the book and opened a page, saying, "There is a lesson here for you as well. Listen carefully, mastering the self. Self-discipline is not just about controlling yourself from the outside world. It is also about gaining control over your inner thoughts, emotions, and actions. Until we gain authority over our minds, we cannot achieve true freedom. The real meaning of discipline is to calm the turmoil within us and make decisions that align with our values and long-term goals." Sam took a deep breath and said, "Sir, that is a very big statement, but you also know how difficult it is to do." The old man laughed and said, "Yes, nothing is easy. But difficult does not mean impossible. Self-discipline is a journey, and it begins when you try to understand every small and big emotion and thought. Do not try to suppress what you are feeling. First understand it, then slowly learn to control your thoughts and emotions." A little hope appeared in Sam's eyes. He asked, "But how do I apply this to my daily life? Please tell me a practical way." The old man nodded and said, "You must first start your day with yourself. Spend some time with yourself every morning. Meditate. Think about what your purposes for the day are and how you will fulfill them. Whenever a negative thought or emotion arises in your mind, recognize it. Do not try to push it away. Understand it. It is important to understand why those thoughts and emotions are coming. Slowly, you will be able to control them. Then the old man said something else important. Self-discipline does not mean that you will hold yourself back all the time. It means that you will make the right choice every time. Whenever you have a choice, think about whether this choice will lead you toward your long-term goals. If not, let it go. This is a process that is achieved only through continuous practice. Sam nodded and understood this well. He realized that the true meaning of discipline is not just suppressing your emotions but understanding them and channeling them in the right direction. Now he was ready to pay attention to every step he took. In the coming days, Sam took the old man's advice seriously. Every morning he spent some time meditating, trying to understand his thoughts and emotions, and whenever he had to make a difficult decision, he thought about whether that choice would bring him closer to his destination. Slowly, he felt that he was developing a new strength within himself. But this journey was still not over. Discipline meant making new choices every day, and Sam knew he still needed to learn more. One day, when Sam faced a difficult decision, he remembered the lesson the old man had given him. He thought with a calm mind and then made a decision that not only brought him closer to his purpose but also boosted his confidence. The old man's words were slowly becoming a part of his life. Discipline was now becoming his habit. He had understood that the true meaning of self-discipline is not just controlling yourself but taking your life in the right direction. But this journey was still not complete. Sam knew he had many more lessons to learn, and the old man was always ready to guide him on this path. Sam's life was slowly changing. The lessons from the old man had become a part of his existence. He had learned self-discipline and how to control his thoughts and emotions. The old man was sitting there as always, waiting for him. "Sir, I have tried to bring your previous lessons into my life," Sam said softly. "I am now gaining control over my thoughts and emotions. But I know this journey is not yet complete. Will you show me the way forward?" The old man took a deep breath and said, "Sam, your journey truly is not yet complete. Discipline is not limited to just controlling our inner emotions and thoughts. It is a long journey, and to understand it, we should learn from those great people who used the power of discipline to make their lives extraordinary." Sam asked in surprise, "Great people? Who are you talking about, sir?" The old man smiled and said, "History has many such people who did extraordinary things with the help of discipline. Their stories teach us that discipline is not an ordinary quality. It is a power that can change our destiny." Sam's curiosity grew. He said, "Please tell me their stories too. How can I learn from their discipline?" The old man opened another page of the book and said, "Let me tell you the stories of two great individuals. The first name is Marcus Aurelius, who was a great emperor of Rome. And the second is Gehrig, who was a great baseball player in America." The old man began, "Marcus Aurelius was a great emperor of ancient Rome. But he was not just a ruler. He was also a philosopher. He wrote a book called Meditations, in which he shared his thoughts on life and discipline. Marcus believed that our life is the result of our thoughts and attitude. He used discipline to control his emotions and impulses. Whether he was in war or going through difficult times in politics, he always remained calm and disciplined." Sam listened carefully. He realized that Marcus Aurelius's story was not just that of an emperor, but a living example of the power of self-discipline. The old man continued, "Marcus believed that if we can control our emotions, we can face any situation. He taught that we should not focus on things that are not in our control. Worrying about what is not in our hands is just a waste of time. Instead, we should focus on our work and duties." Sam took a deep breath and said, "Sir, you also taught me that we should control our emotions. But how did Marcus Aurelius apply this to his life?" The old man smiled and said, Marcus not only embraced this principle in his thoughts but also in his life. When his empire was in crisis, he always remained calm and disciplined. He never let his anger or frustration dominate his decisions. He showed that true greatness comes from simplicity, restraint, and self-control. Sam nodded, as if he was understanding this lesson. He now knew that the true meaning of discipline was not just fighting external circumstances but also achieving victory over inner struggles. Now the old man began to tell the story of Lou Gehrig. Lou Gehrig, he said, was a great baseball player in America. But his greatness was not just in the game. It was in his discipline and dedication. Lou followed discipline throughout his life and achieved excellence in his sport. But his greatest lesson came when he was diagnosed with a terrible disease called ALS, which later became known as Lou Gehrig's disease. Sam listened seriously. He knew this story was going to be special. When Lou found out he had this disease, he did not give up, the old man said. He knew his life was about to become very difficult, but he maintained discipline in his life. He said goodbye to the game, but the speech he gave as he left still lives in people's hearts. In that speech, he said, "Today, I feel like the luckiest man on earth." He never let his disease dominate his self-respect or his purpose. Sam felt deep inspiration from Lou Gehrig's story. He thought about how a person could remain so positive and disciplined in such a serious situation. The old man replied, Lou Gehrig lived his life with discipline and dedication. He taught us that discipline does not mean just winning. It means understanding how we can keep ourselves balanced even during the difficult times of life. Discipline not only leads us to success, it also gives us the strength to face hardships. The old man finally said, the stories of Marcus Aurelius and Lou Gehrig teach us that discipline is not something you achieve once. It is a journey. We embrace it every day, every moment. Greatness comes from simplicity, restraint, and self-control. All the great people in history embraced this journey of discipline. And you are on this journey too. Sam listened carefully to the old man's words and felt that he was on the right path. He thought to himself, if these great people could make their lives so extraordinary with the help of discipline, then so can I. So, friends, that was our book summary for today. The story of Sam and the old man teaches us that purpose gives you direction, but discipline gives you destiny. Without purpose, effort is useless. Without discipline, purpose remains a dream. Ryan Holiday's Discipline is Destiny reminds us that self-discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. It is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. How did you like this story? Do let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching Wise Pages.